Close, not exactly though.
Okay.
Well, if that wasn't weird enough for you, we have something else that probably makes the cut. A Pokemon Cheeto auctioned off. What happened there?
This is wild story. So a flamin' hot Cheeto shaped like the Pokemon Charizard sold at auction for $87,840.
Someone bought it.
Somebody purchased
$87,000.
a flamin' hot Cheeto out of a bag that somebody just got out of a bag. They posted it on social media. It got a lot of attention on social media. For whatever reason, they decided to throw it in a case and throw it on an auction, and it netted $87,840.
And what kind of Pokemon was it?
Charizard, which is like a flaming dragon type creature.
The dragon one.
Yeah.
Yeah, very iconic.
Probably the most iconic Pokemon.
The most.
Probably that or Pikachu. One of the
Pikachu?
two.
Yeah.
Yoshi's up there?
Yoshi's not a Pokemon.
Oh.
That's Mario.
What do you think they're going to do with this Cheeto? Like, show it off, put it on the mantelpiece?
It's in a case,
Uh-huh.
so, they're probably just going to hang on to it. It's going to get moldy over time, I would assume, right?
I'd wear that thing like Flavor Flav around my neck.
Oh, absolutely.
You put it on a chain?
Yeah,
Interesting.
show off.
You know,
I mean,
if you're going to pay that much money for it.
Yeah, if you're spending over $85,000 on something.
Look at this. There's 60 people that put a bid in on the uniquely shaped snack. And apparently the winning bid was $72,000 plus a buyer's premium. So that's a pretty hefty premium there, a $15K or so.
$15,000 premium, unbelievable.
But imagine, there were 59 other people. Well, at least there were 59 other bids.
That's insane.
How long before that thing gets eaten? Like, they have friends over for Sunday football, and someone's in the,
I think that's
the
why
queso
they put it in a
dip, and then they
case.
see that, yeah.
I think you kind of have to be intentionally evil to do that. Like,
Yeah.
you'd have to open the case, take out this very expensive, disgusting, stale Cheeto.
Realistically, if you know the person that bought this for $87,000, they've been bragging about it for a long time, and very well that they have it.
Absolutely.
I know for a fact if I had this.
Well, maybe
and I
it's
spent
like
$87,000
one of those situations
I
where
would parade it around.
You know, if you win the lottery, you don't tell anybody. You keep it to yourself. What if this guy bought?
Right, but he didn't win the lottery. He spent over $80,000.
Yeah, but what if he had won the lottery and this is one of his things he's buying with it? And he doesn't want to tell anyone about it. You know.
That's a theory. That's definitely a theory.
It's like money laundering. You know, that's gonna go up in value.
Sure.
Moving on, we have 7 seized tigers. 7 seized tigers. Where did this happen? Who had the tigers? Why were they seized?
So the tigers were in the. So Carl Mitchell was the guy who had these 7 tigers. Claimed that they were emotional support tigers.
Okay.
And that a doctor authorized him to keep them. There are rumors that these tigers were owned by the guy in Tiger King, Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
And that he got them from that. He has shot this theory down, and says that he had nothing to do with these tigers and that the guy was trying to get a story off of his name. But now both of them are in jail. So.
Oh.
Birds of a feather. I would myself like an emotional support tiger. I think that would be pretty useful. I wonder if they've ever been on a plane. You know how some people bring a dog on the plane, right? Or a goat. All sorts of things.
A goat, really? That happened before.
Plants probably now too. But
first thing that pops into your mind was how would you bring it on a plane?
Yeah, you'd probably. Just thinking logistically, you'd probably have to buy the whole row or something like that.
Think about it. You buy a neck pillow for some support. You could just take your whole emotional support tiger, no neck pillow needed. You just rest on. That could be nice. They're just
you're
big cats,
gonna
man.
let your tiger in the house?
Well,
just gonna wander around inside your house?
They've got to be trained to earn the emotional support animal, moniker.
I guess.
There's got to be a well-behaved tiger.
And this happened in Florida?
This was Nevada.
Nevada.
This was Nevada.
Nevada's
Second
giving
Florida.
Giving Florida a run for their money.
So the man Mitchell who claimed he claimed that he had obtained 6 of the 7 large cats from Joe Allen Maldonado, better known as Joe Exotic. But as you said, Tommy, Exotic denies that. He says that none of these tigers came from him. But who knows?
Liar.
Yeah, we may never know.
Yeah. It would be such a strange thing to lie about, you feel me? It's like, why would you rope Joe Exotic into that for no reason unless there was some truth to that?
Right.
But I mean, it could be one of those things where it's just so bizarre and doesn't make any sense that's the point. You know, you wouldn't question
Well,
it.
we're reading about it here to you on air, so he certainly got press if that was his goal.
I guess so. Yeah.
Next in the weird news, a lot of animals making the weird news cut here. For whatever reason, add animals to any situation, and it becomes a little more interesting. But this one is debatably not an animal, or perhaps it is. A fatal squatch search. Where did this happen? In Oregon?
This was, Portland.
Portland.
So they walked around in a Washington state forest trying to find Sasquatch, and this was right around Christmas. And they both died from exposure.
They died.
To see it.
Yes, they
Looking for Bigfoot.
They both died looking for.
Exposure to what?
That's commitment.
It doesn't.
Bigfoot.
Exposure.
I guess exposure to Bigfoot.
They got paid too much exposure. It's over.
No, they would have died from exposure to the elements. That's what that implies. Yeah.
I thought they just looked at them too long and they got evaporated.
They found their bodies after a extensive 3-day search operation. It says here, which involved 60 volunteers, dogs, drones, and a helicopter.
They probably should have used that manpower to find Bigfoot rather than.
Yeah, that seems.
They probably would have found him if they.
And they wouldn't have died in vain.
Yeah. If I died looking for something, I would have that resource to be put into finding it instead of finding me. Like, I'm dead. I don't care anymore.
Well, get this. I mean, the pair of men were reported missing at 1 a.m. on Christmas Day. So it must have been
You think
That's
Santa
very
saw
cold.
them finding Bigfoot in the woods while he was coming out of the sleigh?
very
I
sad.
think so.
Well, quick PSA to anybody that lives near the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest in Portland: do not go looking for Sasquatch.
Our hearts go out to their families. That is very sad. And I thought it was downtown Portland. I was like, we're looking for Bigfoot next to the bongo drum store, and quinoa quilts or whatever they do there. Next up, 1 in 50 men believe they can outrun a racehorse. This was a poll conducted. 1 in 50 people. So 1 in 50 people that you pass on the street believe they can outrun a racehorse, at least among males.
How about you? Do you think you could outrun a racehorse?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Bold claim.
Absolutely. That's
Very
a
bold claim.
Yeah.
very bold claim.
I would probably sew carrots in my pants and just shake them out behind me.
Well, that's
Slow 'em down,
foul play.
That's foul play, but I feel like these horses, the race horses, are trained to.
And they have
Avoid-
been clocked at speeds of the fastest speeds they've been clocked at is 40 miles per hour, and fastest man in the world, Usain Bolt, fastest speed you get was 27.8 miles per hour.
Usain Bolt, is he born with that name, Usain Bolt?
It's a real name.
That's
his
a real name.
like official, like they set him up to win. They set him up. He's
Yeah,
the Bolt,
it's a
bro.
very
That
cool
is
His
name.
last name set him up for success. in
Truly
the
iconic.
racing world.
Absolutely. So you think you could outrun Usain Bolt, Robert? You really think
However-
so?
On a good day,
On a good day,
maybe.
with good carrots in your pants, you're a cheater. It's fine.
No
Sneakers.
name.
Good
Yeah.
sneakers.
No name can give him the ability to outrun a racehorse.
I was going to say maybe Taylor Swift should get into the track industry. Maybe she would be very.
I like that. That's pretty good.
Swift. Interesting.
Something a little lighter now, and some might consider this weird or maybe heartfelt. Michigan townspeople were helping to relocate a library, and they moved 9,100 books to a new home, kind of one by one, a human chain, as it were. Is that right?
Correct. They had 300 people in this operation.
A book brigade. A book brigade.
A book brigade. 300 people moving 9,100 books one by one. It was just down, what was it, the block? They would move one block?
Down the block and around the corner. Serendipity Books is the name of the store.
Serendipity Books.
I think that's pretty cool. That's like a local
It's a very
Main
heartwarming
Street
story. This was Chelsea,
American
Michigan.
story of a community coming together
It was Chelsea,
to
Michigan.
move books.
Yeah.
That's quite nice, but my question is, why not just rent a U-Haul? Not very expensive. $30 an hour ish.
Probably less,
It
probably more
actually-
expensive than.
It took them, was it 2 hours? I believe it took them 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I expect that. So I mean,
That's not that long if you really think about it.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's actually really efficient.
I mean, if
FEMA, when they go to a disaster zone, that's how they unload cargo,
having
supplies.
300 people to do it versus 10 moving company people, you're going to be more efficient with the 300 people, even if you're doing it one by one.
I guess so. Yeah. It doesn't seem very practical, you know. For that one instance, that's good, but I wouldn't count on everyone doing that. But super interesting, yeah.
Employee of the bookstore said of Chelsea that it's a small town and people just really look out for each other. She says anywhere you go, you're going to run into someone you know or someone who knows you, and they're going to ask you about your day. It sounds like a lovely place to be. About 5,300 people call Chelsea home.
Well,
Interesting.
bravo, Clarice. Clancy, Michigan?
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Michigan.
Chelsea. Bravo, Chelsea, Michigan. What else we have? A tortoise?
So this was a tortoise
Back
that was...
to animals.
Yeah, we have another animal story. This was a tortoise that was lost in a Mississippi tornado.
Uh-huh.
So a tornado went through a small town in Mississippi, and the tortoise Myrtle was lost when the family came back to the remains of the house.
Got swept up in the tornado?
Most potentially got swept up, and then it was weeks later that the tortoise found its way back to the family somehow.
Is the
back
turtle
a
like
cat.
the direwolf sort of situation?
Oh yeah, that's a new one. They came out with that yesterday. New update dropped. Turtle.
Oh, a new update
Yeah.
drop.
It found its way back.
It found its way back like a cat. Cat
It reminds me of that movie Homeward Bound with two dogs and a cat?
Yeah.
Very very heartwarming. You know.
Shadow.
They get lost. They find their way home. I think the turtle story would make it just as great of a movie.
Oh, sure.
Might be a little longer, but
A little bit less exciting.
I feel like this
turtles are
would be
pretty
a great
your
film.
opinion.
We should film this movie.
Should make that.
I think we should make this movie.
It's in the budget.
I think we can make it happen.
You know, I had a pet snake. Not really a pet. I had a snake I had for like one day when I was younger. It was like you had a cut on it, and I put a Band-Aid on it, and I had it in a box for like a day, and it was pretty cool. And I let it free, and I'm pretty sure it came back like a month later, and that was radical. I'm just now realizing how probably not true that is, and I'm just making it up in my child brain. But you know, I feel like that was real to me. It was real to me. It was definitely the same snake, I tell you.
Definitely the same snake. 100% certainty.
Yeah, I know a snake when I see one.
Thank you, Ian.
My pleasure.
We have, as our final story in the Weird News Roundup, we have the Gravedigger International Competition. The Gravedigger International Competition. And what exactly was that? Troy? People from around the world got together and see who could dig the best grave, apparently? Almost like the Olympics of grave digging, as it were?
You know, I think how different is grave digging from just digging in general? I mean, I guess there's like dimensions for the coffin, but
Apparently, it was the second annual International Grave Digging Championship.
2 of those. Got you.
Yeah, so it's the second one in a row. And they actually have, believe it or not, grave digging judges who are pretty picky about what makes a good grave. It has to be exactly 5 foot deep, 6.5 feet long, and 3 feet wide.
Can I
Pretty
volunteer
specific.
to be a judge? Do they take volunteers?
As long as you have, you bring your yardstick with you.
Do you think they have like I don't know, you get like rulers for that, or you just have to so you eyeball it, the grave diggers?
Maybe a
for
tape
the
measure.
dimensions. Perhaps you have that.
Well, up next, you think you hate your job. You'll love it after hearing some of the world's worst.
It's prom season at Macy's. We have all the jackets, blazers, and tuxedos you need. Brands like Alfani are 50% off on rentals for the month of April. We also have deals for full tuxedo sets. Come down to Macy's today for all your prom desires.
Picture this. You just got off work. Your body hurts, you're exhausted, and worst of all, you're thirsty. Very thirsty. You open the fridge, and your smile drops from your face. It's somehow worse than if you had nothing at all. all you have is Pepsi. Don't settle for second place. Don't settle for Pepsi.
Feeling when you should be feeling life's easier with Advil.
Your rabbit isn't just a pet, they're family. That's why Sherwood Pet Health has been dedicated to providing high-quality food and supplements for small pets for over a decade. With no grain or animal byproducts or cheap fillers like soybean or rice hulls, Sherwood uses only first and second cut grass hay in making their pellets to ensure your furry friend gets the nutrients they need to thrive. For a healthier, happier bunny, choose Sherwood Pet Health products.
Welcome back to For the Record.
Back to For the Record. Maybe you're breaking your back right now, pitching trash into a dumpster, or mindlessly punching make-work numbers into a spreadsheet and thinking, I have the worst job. We're here to change your mind about that and maybe help you feel a little better about yourself and your job. We're talking about the results of our World's Worst Job Survey. We surveyed the world and found the worst, so you don't have to. Tom, what are some of the world's worst jobs?
So, first one here is a snake milker.
Snake milker.
Snake milker. And these are people that are extracting venom from snake fangs to use to make anti-venom, medicine, all sorts of medical stuff.
That sounds like a pretty important job.
Absolutely.
It's a very important job with a very, very weird name. Snake
honestly,
milker?
I think if they changed their name, they'd probably be taken more seriously.
Yeah, it's a very unserious name for the job.
Snake venomologist or
venom extractor.
Venom extractor,
Sure.
yeah. Right.
You know, anything but milker. You think of milk, and I'm thinking like a Go-Gurt tube. You just grab the end and you just got a snake like that. That's, I know it's not how they do it, but like the image in my mind is not going away.
It's
anytime
probably
soon.
a little bit closer than you think.
That could be how they do it.
Yeah,
I see some images of a snake milker sort of pressing the fangs of the snake onto sort of like a beaker, if you will, and they kind of extract it with pressure as if the snake were to be biting into its prey.
So they don't have udders, right? No udders, snakes.
No.
They'd have to be retractable, right? So
the fangs. Yeah. Oh well, the others.
From the fangs, they milk the fangs. Is that right?
They do, yeah. I have seen like a video of like one of those snakes with those big old nasty fangs that like, come up the roof of their mouth. It's pretty interesting.
So are they working on a snake farm, or were they just finding snakes in the wild and they?
It's probably like wildlife sanctuaries and stuff like that. And then there's like they have holding sites for snakes too. That a lot of you'll see like pet stores will send. They have them all over the place, just like distributor centers, basically.
Well, that might appeal to some of you out there, and if you're an accountant, maybe you like your job, or if you're a plumber, you might like your job. But some people who are an accountant wouldn't like to be a plumber, and some people who are a plumber wouldn't like to be an accountant. This next job, though, I'm pretty sure 99% of everyone listening isn't going to like or wouldn't like.
99.9 continued
999.
for a while. This one is pet food taster.
Pet food taster.
Pet food taster.
Good.
Would you like to comment on this job?
I would love to. What is the point of that? What do you mean? What are you talking about here?
They are tasting pet food.
Yeah, but why?
Why are they
we
tasting
don't
the pet
taste
food?
the same as pets. It's like they don't have the same standards as we do. It's like, how do you judge what's a good pet food? It's like, oh yeah, this one tastes like gravy and chicken. This one tastes like bad
Salmon and brown rice, perhaps.
Why are they tasting the pet
So there's
food?
two different types of tasters. The first evaluates the nutritional value, and the second, and then they would write reports. The second is are the part-time workers who actually taste the food.
Part-time pet food taster.
Part-time pet food tasters. So this is not. At least most of them are not full-time employees.
Well,
Could be interesting to do it.
There's definitely some, but most are
Vicky
part-time.
The gig work
Marshall.
economy is getting interesting.
Vicky Marshall, 51-year-old founder of pet food brand Hug, actually loves eating dog food, and she says she prefers dining with her furry friends to most humans.
I wonder if it's more. It's like a wine tasting sort of approach where you swish it around your mouth and you spit it back out. Do you think they swallow the pet food, or?
I hope not. I hope that it's natural to just spit it out.
If you're judged the nutritional value, you kind of have to swallow it, taste all the grains and all that, get the nutrition in your body. Or would they not? You said taster is judged the nutritional value.
I bet the old timers they swallow and they look down on these new
Yeah, old
upstarts,
The new employees.
the new gens.
Posers.
posers.
The frauds.
Well, I certainly want that job. I think this might have
Oh, you do.
came about when pet food started to get complicated. It used to be chicken and beef and tuna, right? Or
Oh, yeah, they just kind of gave you whatever
salmon.
they wanted. You.
But now there's so many of flavors built onto that. Roasted duck with caramelized onion and chives and
No
some complex flavors happening.
onions for dogs.
Yeah,
No onions for dogs?
Dogs cannot eat onions.
They can't eat grapes either, can they?
Onions
Grapes either.
Onions trigger like a liver malfunction in dogs.
I should go.
And cats.
I should get home.
Dogs are so weak.
And,
Oh boy.
Can't
I don't have
onions
dogs.
and grape.
Dogs don't eat onions, grapes. Can't feed them any of that stuff.
That's why they make a fake flavor.
Get fake onion flavor.
They fake
That
the
doesn't
flavor.
kill them.
Fake grape.
Fake grape, so that dogs can experience the food that they can't actually have.
Interesting.
well, if anyone out there said yum, I'm sure you could find a spot in the as a pet food
That
taster.
has to be an industry that's looking for work.
They probably need employees in that. Their application bins are probably pretty light.
Yeah, thinking about that now, we're doing some pretty good advertising for these, these jobs. If you listen to this, say, hey, it doesn't sound so bad. Well, there you go. You got your new job lined up for you.
Next up in worst jobs, we have crime scene cleanup. Crime scene cleanup. Tom, do you want to tell us?
So crime scene cleanups, after all of the investigations are done and the crime scene is no longer needed, the crime scene cleanup people will come in and do just that. They will clean up the crime scene.
Like Harvey Keitel in Pulp Fiction, if anyone is familiar, except legally.
Right.
Contracted service.
Winston Wolfe.
So these range from, it could be anything. It could be a murder scene. It could be a car crash. It could be an overdose. Really anything. So
Yes.
obviously some days are going to be harder day on the job than others when you're doing,
Seems like a grisly work environment. You're not running a popsicle stand. It could be pretty rough.
You could
Yeah.
clean up a popsicle stand, though.
You could,
you know, that's a pretty emotional job to work. You to see some very, very, very bad things.
We salute you out there who are crime scene cleaner-uppers.
Right.
I see that the largest company in the nation for this sort of thing is fittingly called National Crime Scene Cleanup. They have a 24/7 hotline, so you can call them for all of your crime scene cleanup needs. But as Tommy was alluding to earlier, they don't just do crime scene cleanup. It's also cleanup for anything, workplace accidents, unattended death, all the good stuff.
They're very versatile. Then I like that.
Nationwide, though. Nationwide. So
yeah.
they'll be contracted by local authorities to clean up crime scenes in many instances.
How many do you think you have to go to school for that to be like a professional crime scene cleanup person?
Probably just need a good Swiffer, right?
Yeah.
No, it's probably very complicated, and it's a process, and you're removing deceased individuals or remains of which, and you're working in conjunction with local authorities, the police, medical officers. So I imagine it's pretty involved, and you probably have to do maybe medical school. Or
Yeah, I
is that
see
right?
here that apparently in most cases you can qualify for a crime scene cleanup job with a high school diploma or equivalent, employment
Or just a
history in sanitation, janitorial work, or construction, apparently, may help you familiarize yourself with the sort of thing that they have to do.
Interesting.
Well, I'm qualified.
Oftentimes, they'll have to replace, drywall or repaint the walls, replace windows, what have you. So there can be a lot more that goes into it than just, taking out the Clorox wipes and wiping down the floor.
Right.
So it's not just, wiping it up. It's you kind of have to reconstruct the whole place. So it's.
Depending on the situation.
I'm kind of shocked that it's such a low barrier to entry for such a very, in-depth job.
Especially something that endless possibilities of what you could have to end up doing.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, we salute you, crime scene cleaner-upper and snake milker. Maybe not pet food taster, but I guess your job is important too. Up next in the worst jobs, Tom, you disagree with this entry. I don't, but feel free to take it away.
This is one that I would not want to do full-time, but I would love to give a chance one time. Being an iceberg mover.
An iceberg mover.
Iceberg mover. So these are people that go into the shipping lanes in the Arctic and the Antarctic, and they clear out any of the, chunks of ice that drift into the shipping lanes so that the, boats don't have a Titanic moment.
Another Titanic moment. Yeah.
So, they track the icebergs as well. It's a very, very in-depth job.
So just like there are, skyways that routes that planes follow in the sky, there are shipping lanes, and they keep the icebergs out of those lanes. My question: why don't they just? You're going to move the iceberg. Isn't it just going to float back? Like what? You're just going to keep moving it around?
That's why they do maintenance on the shipping lanes. They keep on going in and making sure.
Why don't they
clear.
just blow it up with dynamite or something like that? Like why do you have to keep moving it around?
I just think it's a nice idea, but you think about it, since most of the area is like made out of ice, it's like blowing up part of the land. Like that's basically an island at that point, you know.
That's also
like
very
I'd rather
expensive.
move it than spend $1 trillion.
It costs a lot of money to use dynamite.
Well, listen to this. Apparently, the International Ice Patrol the IIP is operated by the U.S. Coast Guard. They track the locations of icebergs and provide safe routes around them. If an iceberg is in a particularly unsafe area, clearly it's necessary to move it. And they tow it out of the area with specialized boats and really large ships that are able to sort of handle that amount of mass. Very
specialized field, right? There can't be many people in that field, iceberg mover.
Yeah.
Pretty exclusive, I guess.
I think it's safe to assume that the hulls of these ships are not like the Titanic.
Well, this job was actually formed after the Titanic disaster, directly following it. And since then, there have been, allegedly, 5 ships that went down after hitting an iceberg.
Wow.
5's pretty good. It's been like quite a while since Titanic,
I'm surprised that those aren't more known about.
The last one was in 2007, but apparently lives were lost in the first 2 incidences like that following the Titanic, but in the last 3 everyone was okay. So
I'm surprised we don't hear more about that kind of stuff, when it happens.
Well, that's why we're talking about it today.
I know with how much of a culture moment the Titanic was, and how that's been adopted. Movies have been made about it. The same things happened other times, and that's just never gets talked about. It's very interesting.
They made a movie about the Titanic?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Have you ever seen it?
I think they should just blow up these icebergs and stop moving them around. I know, Tom, I could really see you with a captain's hat and a cork pipe, at the helm.
At least once.
Shoveling these things around.
Yeah, you got a nice captain's beard for it. All you need is like a parrot, a peg leg, and a hook. You're solid, man. You're solid.
That's how you envision these captains?
Yeah, I mean...
pirates?
You kind of have to. You don't think of a sane iceberg mover. You think of this crazy old pirate captain. You feel me on that?
I guess.
Yeah, just use your imagination a little bit. Expand your mind.
Rounding out our worst jobs lineup, something all of us are probably familiar with, a hotel maid.
Oh.
Or a hotel keeper. So
room cleaner?
Could be the room cleaners. I think this is more specified on the people that are cleaning the room.
Cleaning the room.
Post,
the individual who cleans up the room after you stay in it.
Correct. This is another one of those jobs where, it's not going to be bad every single day. You're not going to have a rough day in the office every single room that you clean, but there's going to be instances where it is rough, where your job is
apocalypse level scenarios in rooms.
It's happened, and it's going to probably continue to happen, but not a job I'd want to work.
We got
pretty
a
scary thought.
lot of stories for this one.
Sure.
I saw
Yeah, I'm sure.
somebody who was once a housekeeper at a Disney resort that one day they were changing sheets and they got stuck by a needle, believe it or not.
Oh no.
Said, felt like a wasp had gotten me only to discover a small syringe attached to my thumb. Apparently everything was okay. They contacted the supervisor, went to the hospital immediately. They were afraid what the needle could have been used for, but it was just an insulin shot, so it could have been way worse.
Yeah.
But that's probably one of the last things I would want to happen.
Of course.
That job seems like it's got really high highs and very low lows, you know? 'Cause,
What are the high highs of being a hotel keeper?
The high
an
highs.
easy job where you just pick up sheets, maybe the occasional can of trash, you know? I feel like it could be super easy, the easiest job ever. Or then it's like the worst job, I want to quit right now and then go home and not wake up tomorrow. That kind of, you know, feel me?
Well, I think the people that listed this one on the survey probably were thinking more about the bad days than anything. But
Most people don't trash their room, but
Some people don't care. They don't give a crap. It's horrible.
the hotel rooms certainly present this sort of license to maybe not treat it like you would your house. And things can get exciting when you add alcohol or, you know, the
Insulin.
insulin.
Yeah.
Or just the free spirit of vacation.
And Disney World. For real. I tell you, get that, man. Mickey Mouse got me acting up. I don't know what to say.
We had an individual who shared their hotel horror story, and they were a couple in Las Vegas, and they were inebriated, drunk, and they had drunk red wine, and when the roomkeeper came the next day, it looked like maybe something out of The Exorcist because there was wine everywhere on the walls, and it was quite a horrific scene. Stuff like that, you know, finding strange objects probably, or you know, sheets that probably have things done to them that shouldn't have been.
How about this? I got a story here. A former cleaner says about 5 years ago, a little bit longer than that now, they were cleaning a room around Valentine's Day in which the occupants, presumably a couple, had grabbed multiple large bags of glitter and tried to have a quote-unquote glitter bath.
Oh.
And when the lady wanted to clean it, this poor lady, she was cleaning it. She hit the button to turn on the tub, so she wasn't, having to use so much spray. And a giant torpedo of glitter shot out of the tub, and that tub apparently was vomiting glitter for about 6 months.
wow.
Where else are you going to get torpedoed by glitter other than, you know,
around Valentine's Day at a hotel?
That is
working
wild.
cleanup duty on a hotel room?
What a ridiculous idea. Glitter gets everywhere.
It does. It's so. That's not. That's one of the most difficult things to clean up, especially in mass. You know.
Yeah, I hope the people who orchestrated that were fined thousands and millions of billions of dollars. that is irreparable harm to the hotel right there.
Coming right back, we're talking about cryptids with a special surprise at the end.
It's prom season at Macy's. We have all the jackets, blazers, and tuxedos you need. Brands like Alfani are 50% off on rentals for the month of April. We also have deals for full tuxedo sets. Come down to Macy's today for all your prom desires.
Picture this. You just got off work. Your body hurts, you're exhausted, and worst of all, you're thirsty. Very thirsty. You open the fridge, and your smile drops on your face. It's somehow worse than if you had nothing at all. All you have is Pepsi. Don't settle for second place. Don't settle for Pepsi.
Feeling when you should be feeling. Life's easier with Advil.
Your rabbit isn't just a pet, they're family. That's why Sherwood Pet Health has been dedicated to providing high-quality food and supplements for small pets for over a decade. With no grain or animal byproducts or cheap fillers like soybean or rice hulls, Sherwood uses only first and second cut grass hay in making their pellets to ensure your furry friend gets the nutrients they need to thrive. For a healthier, happier bunny, choose Sherwood Pet Health products.
Welcome back to For the Record.
Welcome back to For the Record. We're here to talk about cryptids. But, first, frankly, we're lucky to be alive here after our investigation into one of Connecticut's star cryptids, a star cryptid here in Connecticut, the Glowacus.
I thought it was pronounced Glowacus for a little bit.
Glowacus. It's Glastonbury plus Wackus, Glowacus.
We can get to that.
Some of you may be familiar.
That's whack.
We got up close
whack.
and personal with that particular creature, which we will show to you at the end here. But first, what is a cryptid exactly?
Cryptids are mythical creatures that have first-hand accounts of sighting, and they are not proven scientifically to exist. So it's something that, think like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot, something that people have claimed to see but have not been scientifically proven to actually be real. So, Connecticut's actually had quite a few.
Connecticut's a hotbed for cryptids.
Very
so
much.
these things are all around the world. Loch Ness Monster, Man, Bear, Pig, or Bigfoot. And Connecticut is like the superstore of cryptids. We have quite a few across the state. One of them being the Glowacus, which we'll get to in a few. But what do we have? Danbury frog people. What else do we have, Tom?
So the first one I want to talk about is Connie.
Connie.
So Connie, think Loch Ness Monster again, is a river serpent that was originally spotted by the colonists back in the 1700s.
Connie goes back to the Pilgrims.
It does. And this is a 100-foot long eel or snake-like serpent in the Connecticut River.
So kind of like the Loch Ness Monster, is that
Very similar.
Very
to the Loch
similar.
Ness Monster. Yeah, almost identical. And I have a theory that these are the same species, along with Champ from Lake Champlain.
It's possible.
I think they're
Think
all
so.
the same species.
Could be the same Nessie,
right?
right? Also,
Nessie's the Loch Ness Monster. Yeah.
I have to ask
keeps moving
the
around. That's
question,
why we can't find her.
If these were spotted so long ago, is this the same ones still rolling around and just been living for a couple hundred years, or do you think it's
Good
it's had
genes.
offspring and they've grown up and taken its place?
I think that Nessie is. I think they're all related. I think they're just all related. They're all the same species. They're all the same.
So the
family.
earliest sighting here in Connecticut, in the Connecticut River, is that right? Connecticut
Correct.
River?
And that was by the colonists.
The colonists. So the Indians apparently taught the colonists to farm, grow corn. I wonder if Nessie or Connie, taught them to fish.
Ooh.
Maybe
They'll be
any
able to eat for life.
local historians out there want to pick that one up. Might get you some notoriety.
So
Wood, maybe.
over the last 300 years, it's been spotted across 3 states. So the Connecticut River flows through, obviously, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire. It's been spotted in all 3, or there's been sightings.
Well, that's
in all 3 states.
consistency. That's the point in
So
favor
there's,
of it,
there's a legitimate chance that this thing exists.
Yeah.
Quite possible. What else do we
Very
have
possible.
in the land of Connecticut cryptids?
So this next one is the Danbury frog people, as you mentioned
Danbury
earlier.
frog people.
And these are mutant humanoids that are rumored to live in Danbury, Connecticut. The Fairfield County Weekly ran a short mention of the frog people in 1998, which was a sighting in Bethel, Connecticut.
I love that because a lot of these stories are, the Pilgrims saw Connie, right, in the Connecticut River, or as we'll get to.
There's been more recent sightings of Connie too.
As we'll get to with the Glowacus, that one dates back a ways. This one was the Danbury Frog People, 1998.
Right.
Just right before Y2K, Oh my gosh, there are frog people in Danbury.
Right.
We have a couple first-hand accounts as well. I'm reading here. The summer, this is, of course, a first-hand account. The summer before my junior year of high school, a friend's mother was running a version of Meals on Wheels for a local church. I volunteered to help. 2 friends and I would go around Danbury door to door to give out lunches to unfortunate folks. In one of my houses were the Frog People, they say. They share a family name I can't remember, conveniently. They wouldn't come to the door. We were told to knock on the door and then leave the food there. Being a mischievous kids, we would hide and wait. I never got awesome views, but the door would crack open and a hand would come out. They would snatch the food. It's not written here, but I assume that it would be a webbed hand. Assuming the Frog People have webbed hands and feet.
Well, the description that is listed here is they have large lemon-shaped heads with eyeballs on the sides, thin, crusty lips and wide mouths, sunken noses and slit nostrils.
Crusty, huh?
I think I've seen that.
That's what it
I think
says.
I may have seen these Frog
Crusty
People at
lips.
Walmart, perhaps.
Frog-like, yeah.
You've seen them where?
At Walmart, yeah. That matches a couple of descriptions of people I've seen there. Lumbering around on like mobility scooters and the toy aisle.
We love all our Walmart customers.
Absolutely,
Well, we have another account here at a local grocery store around 11 p.m. With a couple of friends. This person was walking down the canned good aisle, and apparently they saw a frog person wearing penny loafers and a short-sleeved dress shirt tucked into khaki pants.
Penny loafers.
Wow.
They were going through the soups.
Well dressed.
Going through the soup section?
They were going through the soups. I guess Frog People like soups. You heard it here first, folks. It says that here they gasped. He turned and saw us. And this person says that the Frog People are not as horrific as they are described.
Hey, they're nice in person.
They did confirm the lemon-shaped head. They said that this one in particular had a bad, lazy eye. His face was sort of stretched, and his eyes and nose looked far apart. He had sores on his very thin lips. He did have a really froggy appearance. However, he had a normal head of hair.
Interesting.
And they say that hair was even nice, parted on the side. He had a bobblehead sort of appearance and was very gangly.
The level of description in this individual's account is very detailed.
Very detailed. And matches other
Almost too
descriptions.
detailed, to be honest.
It matches other accounts.
Perhaps
So,
this is one of the more
This is another one that very well
better
is
looking
true.
ones that were sent out to get the soup.
Well, they say here that this frog person was not alone in the store. There was a female frog person that came around the corner with blonde hair, pretty well groomed.
Is this the Danbury Mall? Or
It doesn't say specifically what store this is from, just a grocery store.
Okay.
I'm assuming in Danbury, but it doesn't say. It says that these people look totally normal from behind, but if you turn around, it's a monster. If they turn around, you can see. She says, I know it sounds mean, but they did look like frogs. They darted away and quickly made their way out of the store.
Interesting.
Do you think perhaps they were French?
mean, definitional.
French.
You know.
It could.
Why
I
would
don't
they
know.
be French?
I wonder what kind of soup a frog person likes.
Sure.
What do you think?
French onion soup.
French onion?
French onion? Because they're frogs? Yeah.
That sounds pretty good.
Too many
Yeah.
onion references in this.
Yeah, onions, they come up a lot. They're very versatile.
Yeah, we love onions. Aromatics, beautiful.
Absolutely.
Well, so if you want to invent Connecticut Cryptid, just get 2 people to invent an eyewitness account, apparently.
Well,
and it's
act
just-
like,
Act like you've never met them.
And you've made history. They could be out there. They could just, if anyone sees them, we'd love to know, because that would, at least cure my lingering doubts about the
Sure.
Danbury Frog People.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Bigfoot in Connecticut. Is that right? Spotted in Monroe?
So yeah, there was a Bigfoot sighting in Monroe, Connecticut. This was what is called a Bigfoot hotspot.
A Bigfoot hotspot.
This is what the article is saying. It's a local news channel reporting this.
It's like a Bigfoot flash mob, or sort of
I guess so, but it's making the local
hotspot
news.
for Bigfoot sightings.
I guess so. But what are your thoughts on Bigfoot? You think Bigfoot's real?
I don't think Bigfoot's real, so but he could be. You know what? I will reserve the possibility. That will remain open. The possibility that Bigfoot's out there, and
What do we think it was if it wasn't Bigfoot that they sighted in Connecticut?
This account specifically said howls were heard after midnight on October 17th, 2023 in a forested area between Botsford and Upper Stepney. There was a screaming / long duration whooping sound that went for 5 to 10 minutes.
Like that's like a.
Like the police, yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then all of the dogs in the area started barking. Owls went silent. And then this is shortly before the sighting actually occurred. So
I wonder if you kind
Another
of
very
just won
specific account.
and someone in the woods was excited. You know.
Could have been. You know, I consider Bigfoot to be potentially real, but I think Bigfoot is a culmination of a lot of different things. Like, anyone could say something's a Bigfoot. I think many supernatural things just kind of get rolled into Bigfoot, you know?
Right.
So I think at this point, what we have defined as Bigfoot isn't real, but a large ape, almost person-like creature, I think that's possible. But I think a lot of things have become Bigfoot due to its popularity,
Right.
and, you know, easy to say, yeah, that's Bigfoot.
I mean,
anything.
there's probably thousands of accounts of Bigfoot sightings. at this
Absolutely.
point.
So
Like,
one concrete Bigfoot would be pretty close to impossible.
right.
It's a clock.
Speaking of impossible,
We have, well, Bigfoot might be out there. If you want to find them in Connecticut, you might look in Monroe. But you know, if you try hard enough, I'm sure you could probably find them anywhere
I'm sure, yeah.
in Connecticut.
Apparently, there have been
Anywhere in the country.
numerous sightings in Connecticut. Hartford County had a sighting in 2018. Litchfield County, last sighting was in 2022. Middlesex County, last sighting in 2019. New London County, 2019 as well. And Windham County, last reported seeing a Bigfoot in 2009.
I have a
So,
new theory about Bigfoot.
well traveled.
There's one in every U.S. state that just travels around and
Do they think
gets sightings.
Do you
There's
think
50.
they stay within the state lines?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that they've
So-
I think they actually wrote the state lines.
Dedicated
idol.
Connecticut Bigfoot.
They wrote the initial state lines.
The Illuminati is controlled by Bigfoot. You heard it here, folks.
That's possible too. Who knows?
True.
They could be sentient.
You know, yeah.
Just a disclaimer: the Illuminati may or may not be controlled by Bigfoot. Just
We
to
don't
our-
know. It's all speculation.
Don't want to offend our Illuminati listeners out there.
I'm sure there are some.
I'm sorry, Troy, our sound guy, is giving me a gang sign. Okay. We have another cryptid we're going to get to before we get to the cloacas, which is the black fox of Salmon River, apparently. Which I don't really think is a cryptid, but it's listed in many of the catalogs of Connecticut cryptids, the comprehensive catalogs of cryptids that you might find in Connecticut. What about the black fox of Salmon River?
It's exactly what it sounds like.
Just
That's about it.
a black fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
And accounts say that they have superstitions that it brings bad luck, and then some accounts portray it as a physical manifestation of darkness and mystery.
Okay.
So, like, Michael Myers is like a fox that's also black.
It's Michael Myers reincarnated into a fox. Yeah.
Yeah, real.
I could
Is this even a cryptid?
I could see
Don't know.
where it qualifies for cryptid because it apparently is kind of supernatural qualities and it brings bad luck, right?
The only thing though is that the supernatural qualities, that's all superstition. There's nobody that's.
It's hearsay about the hearsay.
There's no account that claims to prove that.
We're like 2 levels deep of like suspecting things. Like, it could be real, but then it also could bring bad luck. We're like in Inception levels of what level of true is this? You know?
Apparently, the black fox of Salmon River is claimed to have a pelt so dark that it would drive someone mad. Imagine that.
How does that work? Y'all ever see a color so dark you just tweak out?
Well, according to
Space.
superstition, seeing the
Space.
black fox, as Tommy may have said, is bad luck. So,
Just like black cats are bad luck.
well, that's your opinion.
It's your opinion, nerd.
You don't think you get bad
No,
luck
it's a
crossing the black
superstition.
cats?
It's similar. It's similar.
I own 2 almost black cats. I don't have bad luck. I have bad judgment and bad time management skills, but not bad luck. Not cats
Maybe
not
that's all
bringing
caused
upon
by
me.
bad luck.
It might have been, yeah.
Never know.
Kind of real.
Another cryptid that's kind of in the marginal category, the Moodus noises. Here in Moodus, Connecticut, apparently there are a series of noises that are heard. Thunderous cracks, booms, that you can hear them around town, mysterious loud bangings. And Troy really went to the mat to say, these are not cryptids. And I said, well, they're kind of like, well, maybe like in the same category as fairies or spirits, maybe, let's call it.
That's fair. I think you could make that argument.
There was another quote, cryptid, what was it, the Pigman of Mystic? And his claim to fame was he decapitated a pig and put it on his head and believed committed a murder. But in my book, at least, that's not a cryptid because that's just a guy.
Just
No,
a guy. You could just do that.
Absolutely not a
insane.
cryptid. Well, what about the Glowacus? That is perhaps the most
This is the big one. And
synonymous with Connecticut, right?
This is the one
So, yeah.
This
that
is the
we can
George Clooney of
confirm.
Connecticut cryptids.
This is the cryptid that we can confirm is not a cryptid.
Supposedly.
Because we found it.
Well, you could
We
make
found
it. You
it.
could be making it up. I don't
So
know.
the Glowacus is a cross between a panther, bear, and lion that was first spotted near Glastonbury, Connecticut, and has been spotted multiple times throughout central Connecticut, where we are currently,
The Glowacus.
the Glowacus.
Yeah.
And we actually took a trip, a little local trip down to our local forest
Supposedly.
with a quote-unquote Glowacus Wrangler. And we have a little video for you.
Here at Shade Swamp Sanctuary, last known site of the Glowacus with our Glowacus Wrangler. We're gonna see him today?
Yeah, I've been wrangling for 40 years. I know Galactus when I see one.
Certified.
Certified. Look in front.
What the heck are we?
You're in Galactus country. As we speak, you're in the Nimlin range of the beast.
Is that growl over the ridge?
Is there a problem? I have loose taco meat in my pockets.
Are those cages? Was this a testing site?
40-hour days! Extreme poking pardon. It's war creature. If you witness what I witnessed, you will be just as crazy as I am.
I thought this was an abandoned zoo.
No, it's not! You see the subtle signs of damage on this cage? A creature incapable of that, and I'm not being held captive very long. You think a zoo would have that? No! That's Glowacus damage. Look at it. Look at it.
Is this Glowacus damage? Is this residue?
You would know what residue is, wouldn't you, boy?
Something's definitely getting closer.
You hear it, don't you? Ooh. The smell of unseasoned taco meat and fear brings the Glowacus right here.
We probably should have brought more than a palm finger.
Yeah, hey.
Is he certified?
Oh my god, there goes the camera guy!
Oh, Mondays.
Need a bigger foam finger then.
Well, it's a good thing we have three. We had three. We have two cameramen left.
Two now, yeah.
Yeah,
Subtraction.
yep,
Well, we still have two cameramen.
That's good.
So,
we're okay.
yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh my god. I might have spoken too soon.
We need to get the bear spray.
It's bug spray, and I forgot it. So,
We might not make it out alive, but it wouldn't be the first time for old me.
Wait, what? And it's above us.
where?
That tree.
Die in jail!
At least leave the finger.
I was kidding about the taco meat.
And that's where the feed cut out.
All three cameramen gone.
Yeah, the Glock was 8. Our third camera guy. It's a good thing we brought 3.
Yep.
I don't think I could outrun the other 2.
Without them, we were both goners.
And folks, apparently the Glowacus is real and probably still hungry, so don't go looking for it.
Definitely not.
We investigated so you don't have to.
Correct.
The value we bring
I'm
you.
pretty glad it didn't show up to that little expedition you had going on there. I'm pretty glad it didn't show up.
Yep.
We barely made it alive. Frankly, it was reckless. But was that guy? I don't know. Was he even a real wrangler?
No,
Right?
definitely not.
No. The address listed.
He brought a foam finger.
He brought a foam finger,
lasso,
right?
Lasso.
He kind of spoke in tongues a couple times, and the address listed on his business card was under a bridge. The Farmington Rail Trail under a bridge was his business address, and business hours whenever. So I'd normally,
All right.
and that probably should have been a red flag.
I guess so, yeah. You know?
Honestly, I wouldn't recommend his services. Definitely a 1, maybe 2-star review. Well, that's a wrap for today's show. Thank you for listening to For the Record. It's been lovely. We'll catch you next time.
Absolutely.
Here at
Join us again tomorrow morning at 11 for the next episode of For the Record. For a full recap of today's show and the show podcast, find us on Facebook at the number 4 The Record. Thanks for listening.